Okay, hello, and welcome. My name is Toru, and today we will be playing a little bit of the Pokemon International Challenge, a 2022 February edition, for VGC of ranked battles, or VGC 2022. So we'll be going on with online competitions with a team that you can see in the bottom left corner, the Sun team, based on Groudon, Venusaur, Solgaleo, our good friend Articuno. So we've played 7 games so far. We're currently at about 1600. We haven't lost any games, but I'll probably lose 4 games here. But we'll just see how we go. I'm pretty happy with how the team's performing so far, considering the kind of matchups that it has into the current meta. But yeah, we'll just get right into it and we'll play some games. So wish me some luck. Wish me a little bit of luck. Yeah, it is pretty interesting though. I'm actually surprised at how many participants there are in this particular tournament, because I know that in the past, there have been a lot of people that have come out to the previous international challenges, but I would have actually expected the player base to diminish a little over time. Because Sword and Shield has been out for a couple of years already. We're in 2022, it came out in late 2019 from memory. So it's already been out for a couple years. We have newer Pokemon games, Diamond and Pearl remixes, remasters. There's also Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I would have expected, it would have been a bit different. But anyway, we have our first team. Interesting team, actually. Interesting team. So you got Zacian, Serena. I think in this particular scenario, I think just going Solgaleo as a lead is alright. The Lapras probably wants to set some screens. So you want to lead Solgaleo Venusaur, at least in my opinion. I don't have too many good matchups against the Hydreigon. So that might be a bit problematic because my Grimmsnarl set doesn't have Spirit Break. But my opponent probably has to respect it, right? And you'd want to have Groudon in there and probably just Incineroar as the last. I'd like Articuno, but it's too weak into too many of those Pokemon. It doesn't have a great matchup against Lapras. It doesn't have a great matchup against Hydreigon. And obviously doesn't have a great matchup against Zacian. I mean, very few Pokemon do have a good matchup into Zacian. But we picked our 4 Pokemon, so we're facing off against Abigail. Fingers crossed we can, at least, maybe, do something good. Do something good. But like I said, it's not going to be that easy. I don't think my team is particularly well built, but because this particular tournament grants you Galarian Articuno as a reward, I 100% want. Oh, this is actually a good lead for me. Pretty good lead for me. So my opponent's got his. Okay, so in this particular scenario, I don't think my opponent has much damage into my Solgaleo. And nothing really enjoys. I don't know. Do I want to Dynamax turn 1? Dynamaxing turn 1 feels a bit off. But on the other hand, I don't think my opponent has anything, right? For like a max Steel Spike. And we'll just bring in Incineroar. I considered going with Sludge Bomb into the Serena, but I think just going Incineroar, getting the Intimidate off. Like, we won't have the capacity to pivot next turn, but a +1 Incineroar defense probably will be able to live like even a close combat next turn, because we do have the Zacian intimidated. So I think that this is probably a solid start for us. It depends on what the Serena has, but I don't think that they have a whole lot here for Solgaleo, because Solgaleo doesn't take a lot of damage from Zacian, especially considering that it's back at neutral and we are Dynamaxed and we are going to get the +1 this turn. So the Behemoth Blade comes out, I imagine into the Venusaur slot, and then that's just going to hit Incineroar, not do much damage at all. That does a decent amount. Was that a crit? Or is that just Zacian doing Zacian things? Bounce is okay. I guess They doubled into the Venusaur slot, I think, by the way that it was looking. Like, I'm pretty sure they doubled into the Venusaur slot. So there we go. We have the +1 on both our Pokemon. So I don't think they can knock me out. Right? Maybe with a close combat. Right? Maybe with a close combat. But I actually do think... Well, who are my Pokemon... opponent's next Pokemon? I think getting into Max Quake is good because I have to feel like my opponent has Max Hydreigon in the back. If not, then it would be like Max Lapras or something. And if it's Max Lapras, then I can definitely... how should I... Maybe I want Zacian on the field still? We know that the Serena is faster, right? I think Max Quake is still okay. And then we can knock out the Serena here. Okay, good. Sacred Sword. This shouldn't KO. I forgot the +1 doesn't really matter. But regardless, even if Serena takes out the Instant, we take out the Zacian. And I would still consider that a fair trade. Because we do have endgame Venusaur to play too. It only is an issue if like my opponent has like Max Hydreigon or whatever. But even then, I don't think it's too bad. I forgot that Sacred Sword doesn't take into account. I forgot it doesn't take into account defensive boosts. So that's actually my bad. I was expecting Incineroar to live that a little bit better, but that's not too bad at the end of the day. Not too bad. So let's see what my opponent has next. That indicates to me Assault Vest. If they have Bounce, there's probably an Assault Vest Serena. But if my opponent doesn't have... If my opponent doesn't have a Pokemon like Hydreigon, then they're actually in a lot of trouble. Okay, there we go. There's the Hydreigon. That's completely understandable. But even then, we're +1 now. We're +1 defense. I actually think that we're fine to just Heal Spike into that slot. And then... I don't... Because I suspect that my opponent is just going to max Darkness into the Solgaleo. That's not even going to do 50% damage. It will proc our Weakness Policy, and then we'll just hit the Hydreigon in return. And we'll try and go for a Sludge Bomb for this arena. We'll try go for a Sludge Bomb, and if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. I do think that they have speed control here, so maybe setting the early Trick Room would have actually been a better idea. Heat Wave! That's not the play. Unless you burn my Solgaleo, then you just activate it, and I probably sweep the endgame. But let's see, actually. Let's see what my opponent does. So max Steel Spike, so we're +2 defense, +1. Pop. Yep, that takes out the Hydreigon. So what does my opponent have left? What does my opponent have left? The Lapras? I don't think Lapras is the play here. Especially because I can just bring in Groudon to boost U-turn. Oh, no, that's... I don't like that play at all from him. I think that potentially maxing the Hydreigon was maybe the play there. Especially because his last Pokemon, what does he have? He has Lapras, he has Whimsicott, he has Togekiss, it's Lapras. None of them enjoy taking this Sludge Bomb. So that's... yeah. Do we get the poison as well? No, we don't. But that's still okay. That's still okay because... our Solgaleo is in a really powerful spot. With +2 defense, Serena does nothing to him. With +1 special defense, then the Lapras is also going to struggle. I think it depends on what the speed tiers are for the Lapras. Because I think there's nothing preventing me from, like... this Lapras is not going to be that strong. Even if the Lapras maxes, and then it does say... Max Ice into the Venusaur. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, at this rate, I don't think the Serena really has a response. So we're just gonna double into the Lapras. Yeah, because Solgaleo can take out the Serena whenever. Battle was cancelled. Okay, so my opponent realized they didn't really have an out here. So thankfully, we were able to win that battle, which means we move on to 8-0, which is good to see. Do you want to continue battling? Yes, definitely want to continue battling. And we're now on 16-12. Oh, here we go. Thankfully we haven't. Oh god, I'm gonna curse myself. But thankfully we haven't run into too many Zacian, Kyogre teams. Okay. Gigas Weezing. Gigas Weezing is difficult, but I think Solgaleo depends if they lead Venusaur. I think Solgaleo is still good here. I think Solgaleo Incineroar has to be led here. And then we have Articuno in the back. The reason I want to have Articuno in the back is because I want to tunnel vision my opponent into going for a Max Quake on my Incineroar if he has Gigas. And then I don't want to use my own Venusaur, but I think Groudon is too strong to leave behind because my opponent does have their own Zacian. Venusaur, it's a 50-50. Like Solgaleo is really weak into the Sun matchup, but he's decently good against the Gigas matchup, right? Because my opponent's probably going to lead one of two ways. It's going to be Gigas Weezing, or it's going to be Groudon Venusaur, probably. Or maybe they might even lead like Venusaur Zacian and then pivot from there, which I think would be a fair play as well. And I do think Solgaleo, even though it's weak into the Sun duo, it's good enough that, you know, we should just go with it pretty much. Okay, so they are gonna lead with Gigas Weezing, and I think this is okay. So there are a couple of plays we can do here. The thing is, I suspect like Weezing almost always protects turn 1, but I don't want to risk catching like an errant Will-O-Wisp. So we're actually going to protect this turn, and I'm going to swap out into Articuno. So we're going to swap out into Articuno, and the reason is you want to incentivize, because like my opponent probably has one of Groudon or Zacian in the back, which are strong physical attackers. So my opponent is highly incentivized to max turn 1 and max Quake, yeah, the Incineroar. You know, so we're going to protect turn 1, we're going to bring Articuno out into the field, and we hope that we can eat up this potential Max Quake. I think that Weezing is going to protect this turn, they usually do, but we'll see, because he's going to use Protect. We've also confirmed that he's faster than my Solgaleo, which is actually going to be a little bit of an issue. The other reason I wanted to get Articuno in was because we have... Oh, so he does use Max Strike. That's fair. That's a bit annoying because we don't really get any value out of this turn. Was Max Strike gonna actually... if that's the case, I should have just Trick Roomed. I considered Trick Rooming. Unfortunately, I didn't go for it. But where do we go from here? This is actually pretty tough for me, and that's the sort of like... That's the sort of thing that happens like when you go for the 50-50s. I guess my opponent was, you know, trying to just even things out, right? Play a bit safe. And so the problem here is that my opponent has a free Will-O-Wisp into my team. So I'm going to go with Trick Room here. I think that that's my only play at this point. Because my Solgaleo protected last turn and they ignored it. I can't believe they ignored the Solgaleo. I'm really surprised that they ignored the Solgaleo. And then what we can do, we're going to take a heap of damage, which is unfortunate, but I do think that it's necessary that we do protect, because it's highly likely this turn my opponent's Weezing is just going to do Will-O-Wisp, right? And so if it hits the Solgaleo, unfortunate, but I don't think my opponent's Gigas can knock us out. So we're just trying to absorb as much pressure as we can here. And this is why this like duo is actually pretty difficult to deal with at times. Max Strike, probably into the Groudon slot. That did a lot of damage, but I'm okay with it. Let's see what the Weezing does. I'm pretty sure it will just Will-O-Wisp into the Solgaleo. That seems like the obvious play from me. We do get the Wider, which is not really necessary. He Will-O-Wisps into the Groudon. Okay, so we actually do have a shot here. So it seems like they're just planning on ignoring. They're planning on ignoring the Solgaleo. So if that's the case, do they have any flying Pokemon? They don't. I think that Max Steel Spike into Precipice Blades is the best idea here, because the Solgaleo is going to go first. What speed stat is the Groudon at? Actually, we can sort of ascertain, yeah. So my Solgaleo is faster than my Groudon, which means that my Groudon is slower than the Weezing, which means that it will go. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do this. We're gonna do Precipice Blades, and hopefully this will knock out the Weezing. It's probably gonna protect here, right? It's probably gonna protect here, but I do think getting the Max Steel Spike on the Solgaleo will allow us to survive any potential attacks from the Regigigas. And this is the last turn of Dynamax. So unfortunately, we had to fodder the Articuno. I was trying to make a read. It didn't pan out. But I think Solgaleo is still relatively powerful into the matchup. Protector's obvious. We'll see what we do here, though. Unfortunately, I don't want to, like, protect again. So having +1 defense, I think, actually will allow us to do really well into this. But let's see what our opponent does. He's probably just gonna max strike into the Groudon again, to be quite honest. But if we can get some good damage, good chip on the Regigigas, that's it. Okay, doesn't do that much, to be honest. The Hailstorm. Oh wow. Okay, does that KO? No, it doesn't. That's huge. That's actually quite huge. Okay, very nice, very nice. Because it does mean that we should be able to just knock out the Regigigas from here. Because, like, if we take a look at our opponent's team, right? If we take a look at our opponent's team, it's highly likely that his final 2 Pokemon are going to be the Zacian and the Groudon. And maybe he wouldn't, because maybe he's expecting me to use the Sun Mode Venusaur, right? But if we take a look at my opponent's potential team, like Venusaur, Grimmsnarl, they don't really do anything against Solgaleo either. So definitely, we're going to max Steel Spike into the Regigigas, and then we're going to go with another Precipice Blades. Now, if I wanted to be really cheeky, I could Swords Dance or, like, Protect. But I don't think that gets me anywhere, because I want to eliminate... Do I even want to eliminate the Weezing? Actually, maybe... I might, because my opponent might try and do a play where they take out Weezing this turn. So I want to catch any potential switchings. See what my opponent does. Because, okay, so he's not going to do anything. That's fine. This might even KO by itself. If it does, that's huge. Because it will have single target Precipice Blades, which should knock out the Weezing. And we have one more turn of Dynamax. And I think the Groudon survives this turn as well. This just needs to hit. Okay, single target Precipice Blades, this should KO. Because we already ascertained that our opponent is using Black Sludge as their item, because they had the passive recovery from last turn. So it's not Sugar Berry, so we're good to go. We don't even take Hail Chip, thanks to that. But let's see. Our opponent's actually in a pretty rough spot here. Pretty rough spot, because now the Solgaleo is at +2 defense. He's got his Groudon, and he's got Zacian. That's very good on my end. I don't know. So here's the thing. No, this is still fine. This is more than fine. My opponent might actually double protect here. In which case, I do think just getting, like, another Max Steel Spike up is ideal. What we can do is we can be a bit cheeky. Let's be a bit cheeky. Because I don't need the Groudon in this matchup anymore. I do have Incineroar. Ooh, he's not going to double protect. So he's going to use his Groudon. But this is fine, because we're at +3 defense. Yep, that's okay. I'm hoping my opponent uses Precipice Blades to knock out both of my Pokemon, but let's find out if he does. Ooh! Ooh! Oh my god, that's actually really, really lucky, because my Groudon lives for another turn, and then, you know, he just gets... Yeah, this is really good. This is really good here. Swords Dance. Very nice. Okay, so how many turns of Trick Room do we have left? How many turns of Trick Room do we have left? I can't believe we turned this around, because we still do have Incineroar in the back. Solgaleo is in really good health. It's going to take him at least 2 to 3 hits. This is the last turn of Trick Room, so... That's probably 2 MLG. Hold on. No, his Groudon went first, so I suspect it's an Adamant. So we're going to do this, right? Because we're going to try and chip both of our opponents, and we're going to protect, because our Groudon is now at +2, right? So we don't want to knock out our own Groudon, but we ascertain through the speed order that our Groudon is actually faster than theirs. So if we can knock out Zacian here, then we just guarantee win. Nice, and we do really good chip to the Groudon as well. Their Precipice Blades won't be able to KO me, and when Trick Room is over, I'll actually be faster. Should be faster with my maybe that's a bit wrong, but even then, we're still okay. Because with the Groudon, I can Sunsteel Strike, and that's a guaranteed KO. Then I can bring in Incineroar. It'll be -1, so you know he would have to crit. He would have to crit. But even then, I think we would still be fine. Whew. That was a rough opening. When I lost Articuno turn 1, I thought that I was probably done for. But you know, Solgaleo is powerful. Solgaleo is really powerful. Yeah. Yep, that doesn't KO either. And this Sunsteel Strike should be able to take out the Groudon. And even if it doesn't, we have Fake Out for next turn. We have Fake Out. Dang. Very nice. There we go. And that's the game. That's the game. That's just the power of Solgaleo there, right? That's the power of Solgaleo, because it powered through the Regigigas, it powered through the Zacian, and it powered through the Groudon. But it's just one of those Pokemon that you know, are pretty good into the meta, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know. It's like there are Pokemon that it doesn't really do well into, like there's like a common Yveltal matchup and everything that it just really struggles with, but there's a lot of Pokemon where Solgaleo can do just a lot of damage, especially once you... Oh, this guy's 1700. This is... Oh, another Gigas. Another Gigas. Another Gigas Weezing. Along with Zacian Kyogre. Oh, this is going to be rough. He has a Dragonite too. Kind of don't want to bring Articuno. Like, Articuno was kind of useless for me. Oh, this sword just polished. I think this... Yeah, I think this is actually a... I'm still gonna bring Venusaur, just for the sake of it. It's got a good matchup into Kyogre. If my opponent leads Gigas Weezing, this is gonna be pretty difficult. Not gonna lie, but we'll see. Oh man, this might be a max Groudon game. But 1700 for the 10th game. So if we win this, we go 10-0. And if we lose this, we go 9-1. So you can't really complain too much, right? Too much about this thing, because our opponent is pretty high ranked, much more high ranked than us. Okay, it's Gigas Weezing. I get it. So yeah, my opponent is incentivized. He really is incentivized to protect turn 1, because we could easily Fake Out it, and he has Air Balloon as well. Might be... Could accelerate the game turn 1 if I wanted. How important is Incineroar to the end game? Very important. It's absolutely vital against her. So, yeah. And my opponent is incentivized to... We're going to Trick Room. We're going to accelerate the game a bit. My opponent is incentivized to protect the Weezing. If he goes Will-O-Wisp on my Solgaleo, well, you know, props to you. But we're going to go with Trick Room. I don't think Max Ground on the Solgaleo is going to kill it. He's probably going to Max Strike or Max Ground into the Incineroar slot to try and get rid of it early. At least that's what I think. Yeah, turn 1 Dynamax. I don't like the Gigas Wheezing matchup because I tried it. I played it a couple of times. I played it a couple of times in testing and I just got absolutely demolished by it. So it's gonna hit the Venusaur. That's. And goodbye Venusaur. Goodbye Venusaur. But that's okay because we get the. Oh, he didn't protect. What a madman. Okay, props. Props. He did not respect my Incineroar fake out. You know what? I'm kind of upset, but props. Well done. Well done. Wow. Whew, that's rough. That is definitely very rough because it means that my Solgaleo won't do a whole lot this game. I was hoping that we'd be able to, we'd force the protect. He'll probably protect this turn. Like he'll probably protect this turn. In which case it's really, really difficult. But we do have to Steel Spike into the Gigas in order to get some chip, and we'll try and get a parting shot out into it. And I just hope that having -2 Gigas will allow our Groudon to like live a move. Now, what my opponent might do is like Helping Hand, Max Ground into Solgaleo, in which case that'd actually be pretty good for us. Yep, protect that. That was expected. I should have just fake outed last turn and then accepted go down. That's fine. Okay, because of how the speed tiers work, this kind of didn't work the way that I wanted, but I mean, can't really do a whole lot about it. Can't really do it. -2 Gigas, or -1 Gigas at least, shouldn't KO our Groudon. Should not KO the Groudon. You know, I would like to see more Regigigas Wheezing on the ladder. I think it's actually really, really strong. Especially for best of one. Max Quake. Probably into the Incin slot. Yeah, but this shouldn't do half. Yep. Yep. So I'm okay with that. And I'm also okay with this because it depends on how fast. No, Wheezing is faster than the Solgaleo, who's faster than. So now we can actually Steel Spike into the Wheezing and do like Precipice. We could even Swords Dance? Oh, that's so greedy. Now we have to use Precipice Blades because if our opponent goes for the Will-O-Wisp on Groudon, then we just lose. Yep. Okay, Steel Spike to break the Air Balloon. It will also increase our Groudon's physical defense, which will allow us to live a max strike. Yep, Air Balloon popped. Precipice Blades hits both. Very nice. Very, very good. I mean, we're starting from so far behind. And then Slow Start comes out, so Gigas is like doing nothing. We're starting from so far behind because we got burnt, but still salvageable, I think. Hailstorm shouldn't KO. Yeah, it does nothing. So let's see who my opponent's next Pokemon. We are +2 defense. Yeah. Oh, this is still okay. This is still. The Zacian is going to be tough to break, though. That's what I'll say. The Zacian will be really tough to break. Because we might have to use Max Quake into it. But we'll see. We'll see. Don't send out the Zacian. Oh, no. They do send out. So an obvious play will be to protect the Zacian this turn, I think. I think Steel Spiking into the Zacian is okay. How many turns of Trick Room do we have left? 2? Swords Dance is so greedy, but I think I have to go for it. This game is like working out similar to the previous one, Protect. We're not going for Gigas at all, so that's okay. Okay, so he double protects, that's fine. This will allow us to get a double KO next turn, assuming my moves hit. The Groudon is +2. Solgaleo is +3. Also +2 attack on the Groudon. Like, it's not an ideal situation, but it helps. Who's my opponent's last Pokemon? I would imagine it's Dragonite? Oh, it could just be Kyogre. In which case my Instant doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, I think I don't have the momentum for this endgame, unfortunately. Especially if my opponent's last Pokemon is Kyogre and then he just uses Choice Scarf Water Spout. If that's the case... Oh, well, I have to hit Precipice. Go. I think I only got like 1 turn of Trick Room left. So that just makes it really, really difficult. Because what will happen is, as Trick Room ends, my opponent will... Honestly, I should have swapped that Groudon last turn. But... Oh, I still can. Just to ensure that the sun comes in. Does nothing. Plus power. To proc my weakness policy, okay. I mean, I'll take it at this point, you know? I'll take it at this point. Hopefully we miss the Regigigas. That would actually be ideal. Think that was missing the Regigigas? Okay, okay! That might actually be alright. Potentially? We'll see. See what my opponent has next. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. My opponent has Kyogre. It's just going to Water Spout from here. And I don't think there's a whole lot I can do about it. Yep. So, but the thing is, yeah. Like, the problem with this is... There's, like, nothing I could have really done. Because the Kyogre is definitely faster. The only thing I can do is protect here. What are the... Nah, he's just gonna... Nah, this game is over. Then how would I won before? If I had brought Insin when they double protected. That was the play that I needed to do. I needed to bring in Insin when they double protected. So that I could bring in Groudon for the Solgaleo slot, I think. And then, yeah. It is what it is. See how much damage we can do. I'm just gonna protect. But I think we've lost this one a little unfortunately. Because he's just gonna Water Spout. So the game is over. GG's to our opponent. I think that they made a few really, really good reads. Good reads. We could survive this, that'd be sick, but we're not gonna survive this. So the game is over. Oh, actually no. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. We do have... This is a very... It depends if our opponent has Scarf. If this is Mystic Water, then we've lost, right? But this is our one out. Because foddering in Insin, like our Groudon doesn't have enough health left, right? So this is our only out. The Fake Out, and then double hit on the Precipice Blades. Or at least hit the Kyogre and the Precipice Blades. This is our only out. I think my opponent is Mystic Water. I don't think he's Scarf. But if he is Scarf, then we do have a chance. I don't think we do, but... You know, we gotta try our best, right? We gotta try our best. This is our only out. He is Scarf! Okay, please hit. Please hit. Double hit? +2 Groudon? Yo! Let's go! Oh, yes! Yes! Amazing. Amazing. I legitimately didn't think we would win that one. I legitimately didn't think we would win that one. I was under the impression that, you know, I had to move out Groudon a couple of turns. You know, that turn that I Swords Danced. You know, I imagined that I needed to... I imagined that I needed to pivot in Insin so that I could, you know, do the thing a bit quicker. But no, that was nice. That was really nice. I honestly didn't think that we had that out. So I'm really glad that I didn't just give up, that we played it out to the end. is that was our only out. The fact that our opponent would have Scarf Kyogre. Because if it wasn't Scarfed, then he could easily just protect, and then, you know, we'd be up shit creek. Because he just protects that one turn. Regigigas does whatever, and then we lose to a Water Spout in the resulting turn. I was expecting Mystic Water, but you have to play to your outs. That's just a little bit of a lesson, right? You have to play to your outs, even though it doesn't seem that, you know, you would necessarily do that well, or, you know, it's necessary just to play to your outs, just to see if you can win. And if you can't, even if you can't, it gives you more time to sort of ruminate on the game, sort of think on the game, you know, see what you could have done differently, what you could have done better. But we got a little bit lucky towards the end. Because our opponent was a Scarf Kyogre, and we did have, double hit our Precipice Blades. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know, you make a little bit of your own luck. So I'm really happy with how that went. And yeah, I think that'll be it for today. So take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Toru, a turtle VTuber that plays a little bit of competitive Pokemon on the side. But that's our run for the 2022 International Challenge February Masters Division Cup. At least for now. You know, we've played 10 games. I don't know if I want to keep playing more. Maybe I'll do like a breakdown of the team. But well, we'll see how we go. Anyway, thank you. Take care. I hope to see you around next time.